Welcome to Reset and Rise, the podcast that helps emerging leaders, new managers, and professionals step into confidence, clarity, and growth. I'm Shirrell Meeks, and today we're talking about something every leader and every team struggles with at some point. Yes, setting clear expectations. Because if we're being honest, most of the confusion and frustration we face at work doesn't come from a lack of effort, right? It comes from a lack of clarity. Now tell me this. Have you ever walked away from a meeting feeling confident about next steps, only to realize later that everyone left with completely different interpretations of what done looks like? Yes, that right there is the antidote to chaos, clarity. And when clarity is missing, even the most talented teams can find themselves wasting time, duplicating efforts, or missing the mark completely. Let me give you a real example. During one of my meetings, my team and I were discussing payroll impacting issues. I asked them to create a tool to highlight trends that negatively affected our clients. Simple, right? They did exactly what I asked, or at least what they thought I meant. They built an elaborate tool, developed a detailed document, and pulled a ton of information. When they presented the first draft, I quickly realized I hadn't been clear. What I really wanted was a report that focused only on the areas we could actually influence or solve for, not every possible issue in existence. Yes, I thought my directions were clear, as we were just talking about payroll issues. Their report was thorough, but it took a long time to produce and review. And while I was able to pass their findings to my partners, which turned out to be helpful, I couldn't help but think about the time and energy and the effort we could have saved if I had been clearer from the start. Fortunately, once the report came together, we were able to prioritize the trends within our control and make a real positive impact. But the experience reminded me of something important. When we aren't clear, we unintentionally waste resources and sometimes even frustrate the people we lead. That's why clear expectations are so critical. They set the foundation for trust, accountability, and focus. People can't meet expectations they don't understand. And when we, as leaders, don't take the time to define success, our teams end up working harder and not smarter. Clarity isn't about control. It's about alignment. It's about making sure everyone is running in the same direction with the same purpose. Now, here's how you can start bringing more clarity into your conversations and projects. First, translate vision into SMART goals. Make sure your goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Also, replace "let's get this done soon" with "let's have this done by Friday at 3 p.m. Second, communicate what done looks like. Be clear about the deliverable, the format, and the level of detail expected. Ask your team to repeat it back in their own words. That simple step can prevent huge misunderstandings. Third, build accountability with collaboration. Instead of assigning tasks and walking away, ask, what do you need from me to succeed? Or how will we measure progress? And what does success look like to you? When people know what's expected, they don't just complete tasks, they take ownership. So here's your reflection for this week. Think about one area, maybe at work or even at home, where expectations feel a little fuzzy. What could you do to clarify, to make life easier for everyone involved? Because clarity doesn't limit creativity, it creates space for it. It allows people to perform, innovate, and show up with confidence. Now, if this episode gave you something to think about, Take a moment to reset and rise. And if you'd like to talk more about setting expectations or building stronger leadership habits, send me an email at enr.coaching@gmail.com. I'd love to connect with you personally. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, clarity reduces stress, confusion, and rework. When expectations are clear, success follows naturally. Until next time, keep leading with purpose, and as always, keep rising.